How do you talk to yourself when nobody else is listening? We all have that inner critic on the inside and that inner critic voice. And where's it coming from? Where's it stemming from? We can do a lot of things throughout our day or throughout our life, and sometimes we get the criticism from others. How do we handle it? More importantly, how do we handle this self-criticism within inside of ourselves? I'm sharing that from my own experience. That is something I had gone through for many years, and it's like a building. Those bottom feelings right there, and that was sitting at the very, very bottom. And that anything, any feeling, whether it's self-criticism, this was the experience I had gone through. For many others, they can relate to it. For those that are either at home, professionals, for those that work for something, hungry, very, very hungry, and you're finding out later on that despite doing everything in life to make things happen, and you come back to several feelings, either not good enough, either with having a grudge about it, either feeling resentful. For many, they can put their heart and soul into it, into whatever they're working with, whether it's life, their project, their career. It's something I had gone through. And then finding out at the end that it wasn't for naught, but after a couple of near-death experiences and pushing myself, I found out, hey, I got hungry. I met the right person, or the right teacher many years ago, and I was told, Stephen, it's a process of self-discovery. So what am I talking about here? We're not exactly as a human being. We're here as a human soul. And on one particular experience, when I had left the body, when I came back, I'm like, whoa, they didn't talk about that at school. They didn't talk about a lot of things other than going to school and wearing the mask, the artificial mask of success, the artificial mask of recognition, the artificial mask of, hey, we got somebody in the family that's made it. And I'm sure for many that from depending on the background, depending on the culture, depending on which country a person's coming from, being the doctor, being the lawyer, being the business owner, these are highly sought after traits. And when someone makes it, they're considered being successful. And for many, yeah, there is a certain level of success attained with it. There's also another part with, I'm referring to with the negative or negating self-criticism. With money and time set aside, how happy are people with that? There's a deep truth to reflect upon with that. I share that openly because it's something I had gone through. And as a commercial pilot and from a profession that I started with nothing other than, at one point I found out years later I was following somebody else's dream and making it happen. And it came back from a feeling with it not good enough. And keeping this focused here, I found out at one point that despite whatever I was doing, it came from the criticism from somebody else. And at one point I took it personally. And from that negative or negating self-criticism, whatever I did was never ever good enough for anyone. I am sharing this because I'm aware there's a lot of people that put their heart and soul into projects, that put their heart and soul into their own lives, that put their heart and soul, or they're living in with work. And there's more to life than simply working. And I've seen a couple people that have worked all their life and they're no longer here. The negative self-criticism is something that any feeling, doesn't matter what it is, it's an experience that we volunteered with showing up here. As I said, we're not as a human being, but as a human soul, that when we show up here, part of the human experience is to go through an emotional experience without being stuck by it. And there's a big distinction with that. And unfortunately for many people and for many souls, when people get stuck with that initial experience, it gets them stuck. It gets them, that's the truth of it. It gets a person stuck, and from that stuckness, they're not able to get out of it. And for many of us, myself included, you justify it, or the justification with, look at me, or I have this type of a title, I have that type of label of success. And deep on the inside, I'll admit it, I was drowning. And at one point I said, that's it, enough's enough. 7 years being on call. And I simply worked and worked. I put a lot of money into whatever I was working with, and as a commercial pilot. And I'm reflecting this not to say with what I've done, but for many that can relate to this, that despite the appearance of success, there's often a brutal cost with it. And even when it's attained through somebody else's eyes, it's still not good enough. Why are you not the officer? Why are you not working for the RCMP? And it's ongoing. And I found out at one point it wasn't for myself anymore. It was attaining it for somebody else. And I've been very, very lucky and very, very privileged having the blessing with working with many wonderful people, many wonderful professions. And it's one thing I've noticed, that many are stuck with it. And then at one point, either they want to be feeling sick, resentful, the feeling of resentment, something that's felt within the lower back, something that's felt within the core system, right? But that's whatever's on their chest with this. And it's a feeling. And for some people, depending on the country, the nationality, or the background, you can cut that energy with a knife. It's an energy that's felt. And I'm talking about it and sharing about it because humanity is going through a major shift right now. And this has been for those that are ready, for those that are willing to say, look, enough's enough. That's something else that ties in with the self-criticism, because enough at one point is, when is enough enough? It's too late when a person's 6 feet under. It's too late when a person's burnt out. It's too late when a person's collapsed, or when a person winds up in the hospital. It's too late when a person's been working all their life and they finally got a few toys and then they wind up getting sick. And in many cases, when a person gets sick, it's coming from the soul. It's the soul that's keeping a person alive here. And part of the soul agreement with showing up here, a major, major lesson with this is, part of the human experience is doing the soul a favor, acknowledging whatever the lesson was, whatever the feeling is. In this case, it's going to be a 5-day challenge with the feeling of self-criticism, and it's simply to provide the awareness. For many, the awareness of it is huge. And with what I'm offering here, with what I teach with this, the awareness, doesn't matter with whatever it is, the awareness solves 90% of the issue. That 90% is huge. The healing's facilitated by the soul, you want to call it God, Source, the Creator. And then once the energy of it, once the energy from the initial trigger, the initial boiler point of it, in this case with the feeling of self-criticism, once that energy is neutralized, become awareness of it, with the awareness of it, the acknowledgement with it, then it's up to us making a better choice with it. That's part of our free will. There's many souls that have come and gone, and unfortunately for the old generation, most of them didn't make it. Now, keeping it light with this, the 5-day release with this is going to be involving with several meditations, the awareness of it, because I'm sure many can relate to this. That feeling doesn't have to haunt a person anymore, or to consume them, or consume one's life. And what I said earlier, anything that's held in the mind for 21 days, once it gets locked in, for many people, it gets overextended for maybe 20, 30, or 50 years of a person's life. And at one point, they have no clue about it. So I welcome you with attending this upcoming 5-day release event with us. It'll be hosted online. And with you being interested, I'd love to see you. You can send me an email here at info@emotionalsoulhealing.com or visit my website at emotionalsoulhealing.com. Thank you.